for Media Watch with Emma James. Hi, Emma.
Hi.
You've been keeping a keen eye on developments in the US, where the drama of this Supreme Court nomination just keeps on coming.
Yes, really extraordinary times we're living in right now. We've had drama, we've had upset too, and now we've had quite a bit of confusion today with the latest moves by the Senate Judiciary Committee. They have voted to proceed with a vote in the Senate, so all Senate members. However, there was a last-minute caveat from Jeff Flake, the senator from Arizona, who said that he would vote no unless there was a week-long FBI investigation. He wants the Senate vote not to take place as quickly as had been mooted. There was supposed to be one tomorrow and then another on Monday. He wanted a week's delay so that an investigation could take place. Some people a little surprised by this last-minute change in procedure. The faces of some of his opposers, if you like, looking, well, a little despairing, really, and certainly an awful lot of surprise and confusion from the faces behind as well.
Absolutely.
Indeed. And our very own Philip Crowther commented after the vote, let's agree on one extraordinary thing. Not a single senator on the Judiciary Committee seemed to know what exactly they were agreeing on, because a lot of them were saying things like no or no to the nominee. And it did seem as though people weren't quite sure what the vote was for. But yes, the vote has gone ahead. And it does look as though there will be a week-long FBI investigation now into the allegations against Brett Kavanaugh. Now, we're not sure whether they're going to look at anything other than the allegations of Christine Blasey Ford. As I said, it is very foggy, very unclear right now. Lots of information is lacking. What is interesting, though, is a lot of people who support Brett Kavanaugh are outraged that this has been called for. This gentleman, though, saying, I think pro-Kavanaugh folks dumping on Flake or criticising Jeff Flake are seriously underestimating how savvy a move that was. Various different reasons for that. He says, basically, it's neutered the Democrats' central talking point, which is that if the FBI finds nothing new, as is likely in the course of just 1 week, then lots of senators who had raised doubts are more likely to go forward and confirm him as the next Supreme Court Justice. Another thing that they can look at, as Nate Silver points out, is that there will be lots of polling between now and then. So these senators who are on the fence will be able to see quite feasibly what their constituents really think of these developments and whether or not they should back Brett Kavanaugh or say no. Other people, well, a lot of people wanting to hear from Mark Judge, and the interesting, possibly the most decisive element in all of this is that he has said now that he will cooperate with any law enforcement investigation as long as it's confidential. He didn't want to give evidence at the Senate hearing, but he has said that he will submit to a police interview. So it will be interesting to see what comes out of that, because, of course, Mark Judge is the man who was alleged to have been in that room with Christine Blasey Ford when she was sexually assaulted, allegedly, by Brett Kavanaugh all those years ago when they were teenagers. It's not known whether Jeff Flake was intimidated or influenced in any way by something that happened a little earlier today. He found himself face-to-face with 2 sexual assault victims. As you can see, he's basically cornered in a lift there. And they talked to him about their own experiences, how they felt that his decision to decide to back Brett Kavanaugh was basically telling them that what happened to them didn't matter, and they urged him to think about his own children. Anna Navarro, too, commenting on this, saying that him being berated by 2 women in an elevator is symbolic of how many American women, especially victims of assault, are feeling that their pain doesn't matter. It was excruciating to watch, she says, and she's urging everybody to get out and vote in November. Of course, those midterms really a key part of why this nomination is so important and why the Republicans want to push it through immediately and as soon as possible. Other images that are still circulating today are those relating to the hearings from yesterday. Extraordinary scenes, and the cartoonists have come up with many visions of this, and really Matt Davis here in New York's Newsday summing up the dramatic contrasts in the testimony that we heard from Brett Kavanaugh, which was very angry, very defiant a lot of the time, apart from when he became emotional talking about his children, whereas Christine Blasey Ford was, of course, very contained, very polite, and very softly spoken. This is from Anne Telnays in the Washington Post, and she points out how differently men and women are treated when they're expressing their anger. And they say women are emotional because, of course, Brett Kavanaugh was certainly far more emotional on the stand yesterday. A lot of people talking about how much this is all affecting women. This was a tweet that I think a lot of people felt, whatever the ultimate outcome yesterday, felt like a gut punch from which I am still gasping to catch my breath. And the rise in calls to the National Sexual Assault Hotline went up by 201% yesterday as people watched that testimony.
Extraordinary. Emma James with Media Watch, thank you very much indeed. And that's all we have time for right now. But do stay tuned, there's more international news and analysis coming right up. As up.